book, and all of a sudden, just like this spirit of fear came over me. And I remember being like paralyzed in this chair, just like I couldn't move. I had the phone next to me, and I just was able to just reach it. And I was so scared for whatever reason. There really wasn't a reason. And I phoned Mom, and she's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I'm scared." And she's like, "Well, you know, like any good mom, why? What happened? What's going on?" And I'm like, nothing. I'm afraid. I can't move. And immediately she started praying. So she starts praying, and then she gets me to start repeating what she's praying. And then she starts reading Psalm 23 over me, and she just, no judgment, no, well, get over it, nothing like that. It was just like, she went right into that, and then she stayed on the line until it passed. And for me, that taught me that that's who we go to when we're scared. You know, that's what we do. Sorry, I was gonna cry. It's something that I hope as a mom that I can teach my kids, because that was such an important lesson to me, that when we're scared, we turn to Jesus every time. So thank you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day. I feel, even though I'm 42, I feel a little bit like a little kid, you know, trying to unroll your shoes. These little fit. You're so good. So, happy Mother's Day. Love you.
I wish I could make that phone call today. January 16th, it's been 9 years ago since my mom has gone to her heavenly home. I miss her, and I think of her almost every day. And it seems as we get older and that, we seem to reminisce a lot more. It's in the little things, like helping my wife prepare a meal. I actually do that from time to time. Or planting a garden. We had a huge garden, and she gave most of it away. In summer, our home was a revolving door. Mom prepared a lot of meals and cleaned and washed. Still, she had time to point us in the direction to love Jesus. There were 10 of us, and she wanted that for her whole family. In Proverbs 31:10, it talks about a virtuous and a capable wife. She is worth more than precious rubies. Her husband can trust her, and she will greatly enrich his life. She will not hinder him, but help him all her life. She gets up before dawn to prepare breakfast for her household and plans the day's work. She is energetic and strong, a hard worker, and my mom was all of that and more. Ephesians 6, it says, "Honor your father and mother." I believe they are one, they are a team. This is the first of the 10 commandments. It ends with a promise. And this is a promise. If you honor your father and mother, you will live a long life full of blessing. So I just want to say thank you, Mom, for being there for me when I needed you the most. Above all, you taught me to love God and honor Him all the days of my life. A card that I picked up for a long, long time ago that explains it better than I can say it is a mother's love. A mother's love is heaven sent, a gift from God so pure, so meant, to guide, to teach, to gently show the path of children ought to go. With hands that serve and hearts that pray, she walks in faith through all her days, trusting God in joy and trial, reflecting Christ in every vow. Her words bring comfort, calm, and grace, a glimpse of God in her embrace. Her quiet strength, her steadfast care, reveal His love so deep and rare. She plants the seeds of truth and life, and lifts her children day and night, pointing always to the one who gave His life His only Son. Blessed is she who fears the Lord, who stands upon His holy word. Her crown is not of gold or fame, but honor in His precious name. So on this day we rise and say, thank you, Mom, in every way, for leading us in paths of love and showing us the Savior's love. And if you're here today and you still have a mom, tell them how much you appreciate them and how much you love them.
Well, when I was asked to do this, I thought a lot of things came to mind. So I'm kind of shortening it down to keep it a little bit smaller. But I would say my mom is not a master at anything. She's so good at everything. And whether it was housekeeping or whether it was sewing, whether it was, you just went to mom because she knew how to do it. So she was always, if you know her, she's always been a complete energizer bunny. She's always doing anything and everything. Even though she's getting up there in years, she tries to do way too many things, which is why she broke her arm last week. But she always set us a really strong work ethic, and that she could just give her. And so she's always in great shape, and I don't know how many times people come to me and say, your mom is in such great shape, and they're like 20, 30 years younger than her, but she just always just kept going. My mom was always really organized. She would say, you know, we're going to have everybody over for supper, and she'd say, well, I won't get this done in time, that time in time, so I'd come early. But she had it all done by the time I got there. So everything was always just laid out. And I always admired her for that, and hope I can get a little bit of that. Mom was always a little beam of sunshine in our house. And if you don't know her, you don't see this, I hope she still talks to me after about afterwards. But she's always doing crazy things, wearing silly hats, whatever. And she was always lots of fun at home. And so you could sometimes actually kind of have to wonder about her humor. I remember one time I was motorbiking and I crashed. I had front brake went on this mountain. And so I had quite a spill because I was giving it. And so one time I kind of, came to my senses, walked home. I looked down, my jeans were ripped off my front ears, and my glasses were wrecked, and I cut some bruises everywhere. It was a mess. I thought, okay, wow, I'm ashamed. I get home, and I put a red. I was having a time to open the door, and my mom's gonna come running to me. And mom's gonna say, she's eyes wide open. She looks at me, she stayed right there. She would get something. She's got a camera. She takes a picture. And she says, I gotta show Dad this. But she was really caring. She was always there for me whenever I needed her. When I thought by the end of the night, she was there for me, for my kids. And I mean, she'd come on top of me. My mom had lots of friends. That's one thing I admired about her. And friends from the church. My mom was involved in church all the time. Whether it was WM, or kitchen, President WM, she's always doing something in church. And with those friends, I just got to have such a close relationship as well. They worked together, they played together, and they prayed together. And those friends were so important. And they actually were like partially moms to me. And so I thank you for those that are still there. When I got to be in senior high school, my mom was still always there for me, of course, and we became more like friends in a lot of ways. Every evening we play games and just have fun, just playing games and spending time together. But one of the main things that stuck in my mind about my mom that that I admire and I'll never forget is her relationship with Dad and my God and God. They were always a team. And as kids, we would, we'd go, if we wanted something, we'd go to Mom, and then Mom would say, go to Dad, and then Dad would say, go to Mom. And then when they get together, they'd come up with an answer, and then I can remember me, my brother, my sister, everybody saying, well, Mom's just going to say whatever Dad says, and Dad's just going to say whatever Mom says. But then when I became an adult, I realized that's actually how it should be, is we should agree on it and back each other. Every morning I can remember coming down for breakfast when we were waking up for school, and I would see my mom and dad with the Bible open, doing devotion and spending time together. Because that was what was important to them, was God and each other. No matter what the situation was, God was number one. When my dad passed, we went to the hospital and my mom was holding my dad's hand. And she said, "Who am I going to do devotions with tomorrow?" And then she started to pray. And she prayed, and then she started speaking in tongues. Because she knew God had today, and He had tomorrow. I never could thank my mom enough for what she has done and instilled in me. I do look at a quote too, so when others would be searching for stuff in the world, searching to see if there was a God, I didn't have to worry about it. Because I had a home that showed me all of that. No one is perfect, but she set a very high standard for me to live to. And I hope that I can show some of those to my kids. Thanks, Mom.
Hello, everybody. I'm honored to do this because I'm the youngest person, I believe, doing these tributes, so it's a little bit different dynamic because I still have to wake up every morning to my mom, like, trying to sing worship music or listen to her devotionals or telling me to do the dishes. I mean, we've all gone through it, but I'm still living through all those things. My mom was not always a follower of Christ. Believe me, she has some crazy stories, as do many of us. She's changed since finding Jesus. What I know hasn't changed, and what makes my mom special, is her heart and dedication to others. I've seen my mom on many occasions. I've seen my mom on many occasions step into roles that nobody else wanted to take. In her everyday life as an EA at the school, she faces challenges and situations that could and have caused most people to break and quit. But not my mom. She never stops fighting to show love. She never runs out of love and compassion to show to anyone and everyone who crosses her path. She is selfless beyond all measures, sacrificing time, money, and energy to give me and my family passions that we have. Just this weekend, I had my dance recital. I've been dancing for a long time, and my mom was there every night cheering me on, helping backstage wherever she could. And it just showed a lot. At the same time, she shows me the dedication and hard work that is in self-discipline. My mom right now is finishing up a 2-year college course for her job at the school. And even though nobody wants to watch hours upon hours of monochrome instructional videos, my mom does. And she does all the assignments, and she gets good grades. Even when she's tired or has other things to do, she helps me with whatever I need. Even this morning I was complaining that I put my hand on the glass, and she was there for me. Over the course of 2 years, she has worked tirelessly, switching from course to course to be the best version of herself she can be for the kids who need a helping hand. She demonstrates the love of Jesus every day as she remains patient, joyful, gentle, and unconditional. That woman that's sitting right there is my role model, and so
This is the fake live stream.
I'm proud to call her my mama.
Good
weepy when I was writing this. I was getting weepy. I'll tell you a little funny story this morning, though. Josh called me this morning from church. So he was at church and he was leading worship. And he told me about it yesterday. And he said, I'm going to put you on the mic. So that's what I thought, that I would just speak into the phone. And so this morning while I'm getting ready, he's like, will you be ready in 10 minutes? Yes, I thought, okay, good. I have time to finish my hair and to get dressed. And then when he called, it was FaceTime. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did my hair and got dressed before I was in front of this whole church. Okay, happy Mother's Day to me. So my mom, she gave me life. She was pregnant with me for 7 months. And out of those 7 months, she hemorrhaged for 5. So I was born 2 months premature with the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck twice. And her memory is, she remembers hearing a nurse saying, breathe, child, breathe. So when we sang that song today, All My Life You Have Been Faithful, I'm like, that's true. Right from when I was in utero. I was considerably smaller than my 2 older sisters. Well, she thought I was going to be the last baby. So I was held so much. So much that I didn't walk until I was 15 months old. She loved me, she fussed over me, she adored me. And then my younger sister Penny had to come along and wreck everything for me. So she brought us to church. Even though my mom gave her heart to the Lord at camp when she was 9, she told me when she got home from camp, she was so excited, just wanted to tell everybody about Jesus. But her mother said to her, you can believe what you believe, but you're not allowed to talk about Jesus at home. So that kind of squelched that. But after all 4 of us girls were born, she said to my dad, who also was not a Christian, I'd like to start bringing the girls to church. So he thought that was a good idea. And kind of right around at that moment, there were a couple of guys that came to the door, wanted to talk to them about God. So they let them in, they let them in a few times. And at one point, my mother said she thought something was a little off. And so she prayed. And she said to God, if this isn't the direction you have, can you show me? Can you tell me? Well, I can tell you how faithful God is. He gave her a dream. So this is someone who accepted the Lord a couple of decades before and had no real contact with him. But God is still so faithful that he gave her this very dramatic dream. It was pretty hard not to know what direction she had to go into. She was obedient to that dream. So grateful for my mom for that. Those men were never allowed in the house again. But they were searching. My mom wanted the truth, not only for herself, but for her girls, for her family. So we did end up going to church. There was a church just around the corner from our house, so we went there. I remember going, I was probably about 4, because I can still remember like where my little Sunday school class was and everything. So I was probably about 4 when we started going to church. We eventually went to another church, but it was that church during VBS that I gave my life to the Lord. And I've been to that church one time, like sat across from it, and I said to myself, if I get to come back here again, I'm going in there, and I'm going to tell them what happened in that church. I'm going to tell them what God has done for me, and it was because of them. So, my mother felt that God had more for her than what she was getting at church. She was looking for something more charismatic. And so we found one 30 minutes from our home. And probably just like a lot of you, we went to church at least 3 times a week. Remember that Sunday nights? Couldn't get through a whole Walt Disney show, had to leave to go to church. And that was when Walt Disney was actually on the show. She was a peacemaker, my mom. It was such a long drive to church, it seemed to us, with 4 little girls all squished in the back. I know you'd like to think we were all these prissy little girls, but we would argue a lot. Not me specifically. Probably the baby did. But so it get my dad really upset. And it's pretty hard when you're on your way to church, you want to go to worship and offer a sacrifice of praise, but you're so angry at your kids. It's really tough. So my mom, what she would do, inevitably, every Sunday, girls, let's sing. And so my dad would drive, and we sang every Sunday on the way to church, on the way back. Wednesdays we sang. We would always sing my mom's favorite hymn, The Garden, and my dad's favorite hymn, Blessed Assurance. And then, whatever else. And so my father would not sing, thankfully, but the rest of us, the girls in the car, we would sing, we would blend our voices, and we just really loved to praise the Lord. So when I think about that, she wasn't just a peacemaker, but she was actually preparing our hearts before we walked into church. We were already in worship mode when we came into the church. So Penny and I at church would have to sit in the very front row, which is probably why I have an aversion to the front row. I just don't sit in the front row. If I'm at a church, it doesn't matter that this one's empty. You sit in the one underneath there, behind where God sits. So we would have to sit in the front row, right in front of our parents. Our shoulders would get tapped if we would talk. We weren't allowed to talk in church. No children's church back then in the old days. So my mom would give us a piece of gum, yes she would, and she would give us her Bible. And her Bible had beautiful pictures in it, so we loved to get that and look at that. So when I look at that, I'm like, she was actually preparing Penny and I for a life of loving the Word. Grateful for that. Don't know why that makes me want to cry. My mom was a worshiper. She loved to sing. Any choir, my mom was in it. She was singing everywhere she went, many choirs, even as she got older. She would still sit in the choirs and sing. She always made a joyful noise to the Lord. Now she's 88, and probably the voice isn't what it used to be, but still a joyful noise to the Lord. She still loves to sing. So she's a prayer warrior. And you know what? She has dementia, so when I visit, probably 4 or 5 times when I go in, she says, I'm a prayer warrior. I do know that. She actually currently prays for over 100 people a day. She keeps a prayer journal. So if you call her and you want prayer, she only has one stipulation. You have to contact her when the prayer's been answered so she can take you off of her list. So she gets referred to. She has complete strangers call her. Because people will talk, I need prayer, like you should call Diane. And so complete strangers call her and she prays for them, and God has used her as an intercessor. So many people have gotten healed. So many answers to prayer. It's a legacy, really. It's a legacy. And so right now, last time I was there, I felt the Lord say to me, it's your turn. It's your turn. I want you to pick up the mantle and continue the work. So I have a prayer journal now, and I pray for quite a few people a day. So she's left me a legacy of prayer and of faith. The other great thing about my mom was she was a reader. And she encouraged me at a young age to read. So even in kindergarten, they give you these little, so the people who are in their 60s, like my age, we used to have almost like a library drawer kind of a thing with books. Like as you got better at reading, you could read further into all these titles that were in this book. So I was reading quite a bit. By the time I was in grade 5, at my school, we were only allowed to take up one library book a week, and my mother became my defender of my reading habits and had to go and talk to my teacher and make it so that I could take out 2 books a week. So she saw my passion for reading. She said to me when I was in grade 5, you know what, Tammy, I used to read Nancy Drew, and I think you would enjoy it, you should start. So yes, if you pick up a Nancy Drew book and you flip over the back part, I have actually read all of them. I often saw the Bible in my mother's hands. Sorry, if I don't do this, I'm going to cough. I often saw the Bible in my mother's hands. She enjoyed reading the Lord, like reading the Lord's Word. When I look at it and I think of myself, I have encountered the Lord many times through His Word, and often even in encounter. It's because of the encounter that I love being in the Word so much. He's given me a passion for His Word. And I always think it's simply amazing to think that the Bible is the only document we have that is God-breathed, that came to us from the heavenly Spirit. And it's in our spirit, and we actually get to hold it. God's words. He breathed them, and we get to hold it, we get to love it, we get to read it, we get to memorize it, we get to pray it. It's an honor. So she is caring, really caring. When I was in elementary school, I hated problems. Do remember that in math. Gosh, I hated it. I mean, really? Who cares if a train is going 60 miles per hour in one direction and the bus is going 40 miles in another direction, and at what point are they going to intersect? I don't care. But, you know what? I was actually pretty good at school, but one day we had a test on problems, and I got a D. My first D. And I was so upset. I was beside myself. I thought my mother's going to be so disappointed in me. And I just had to confess it. And it was like 11 o'clock at night when I should have been fast asleep. I was still thinking about it. So I had to go and confess my mark. And yes, I was crying. And I'll never forget her reaction. She hugged me and she asked me if that was the best I could do. And I replied yes. And she said, well, that's all I ever ask of you, that you do the best. And she said, nobody could ever ask you for more than you could ever give. Words of wisdom to live by. I was able to go back to bed, sleep soundly that night. When I think about that, I'm not sure that us mothers really understand the power that is in our words and the power of the embrace. So if you're a young mom, gosh, encourage your kiddos. Encourage them. Encourage them, encourage them. Give them love, give them lots of hugs. And then, us people my age as grandmas, that's what we gotta do. I encourage the little ones, love them up and hug them. Our words are powerful. Okay, I have many more characteristics I could share about my mom. In fact, she was a seamstress and made all of our dresses. She was our hairstylist, brushed our hair and our ears and our neck and all that stuff. And she was a disciplinarian. But I'm just going to limit it to one more attribute. She's a grandmother, well, she's a great-grandmother. Ben and I were living in Calgary when Stacy was born. Our nearest family was a couple of hours away. And at that time, Stacy was the only granddaughter amongst her 4 grandchildren. So my mom decided that she would drive from St. Albert to Calgary during a snowstorm. Which I'm kind of thinking that's probably when Gardner and Maureen got married, was that time. But it was during a snowstorm. She assured my dad, I'm gonna be fine, it'll be okay. Except, she went in the ditch twice. And she finally called Ben to come and rescue me. And she made me swear that I'd never tell my dad what happened. But you know what? It was God's timing that she came. Because we almost lost Stacy during the time that my mom came to visit. I won't go into all of it, but she knew just what to do. I had no idea what to do. And then she said to me, when it was sort of under control, she said to me, you need to take her to the hospital. And Ben and I, it's our first kid, and yeah, there's a hospital closer, but don't you have to take her back where you got her from? So we drove all the way down 16th Avenue in Calgary during rush hour, and driving like a madman. Honking us horn, driving on the sidewalks. I mean, why won't people just move when we need them to? Anyway, when we returned home from the hospital, there was my mom looking out the window, crying her eyes out. She had called a couple of people and asked them to pray. She was a gift to us that day. I think I probably would have lost Stacy that day. She was a gift to us. It was traumatic for all of us. And I had to have an encounter with God in order to settle myself into motherhood properly after that. So yeah, my mom lives in long-term Calgary now. She's waiting to go home. She still prays for people. She reads her Bible. My sister, Penny, takes her to church. She actually prefers to go there physically because she wants to talk to people. She wants to pray for people. She wants to lay hands on them. She will watch it on television if she has to. And she's in a wheelchair, so it's not fun to take her to church, but she insists on it. She's on the phone a lot, speaking to her family, praying for a lot of people who call her daily. She's still concerned over people's souls. She still loves to tell people about Jesus. She's led many people to the Lord. She's taught Bible studies. She's been used to heal many people for the glory of God. I thank God for my mother. She's not perfect. None of us are, but she did the best she could with what she knew how, which is actually Hebrews 12:10. She often says she doesn't know why God hasn't taken her home yet. And then she says to me right afterwards, well, he must still have work to do for me. That's why I'm still here. I'm grateful not only for the teaching, but for the modeling of what it looks like to follow Jesus. She tells me every time I speak to her that she prays for me and for my family daily. I'll close with saying that she has many, many attributes. But the best thing my mother ever did for me was to introduce me to the Lord. According to 1 Timothy 6:21, the most important thing in life is to know God. So thanks, Mom. I'm eternally grateful.
I just thought it would be wonderful to be able to hear from children, from moms today, and to just honor, because honor is pleasant. Honor is precious, and it's important for us to honor those who are so incredibly important in our lives. And I know if I opened this up today, we'd be here till next Mother's Day with tributes. But just so appreciate those who have shared today, and I trust that maybe down the road we have opportunity to hear from others as well. In all of these tributes today, we've heard words that have come from hearts of gratitude and hearts of thanksgiving. And may God bless the memory of all of the moms who have passed, who have gone. And may God also bless the moms who are still with us. And let me just say this morning, because I know for a fact, from experience in each of the churches that we've had the opportunity to pastor over the last 43 years. Thursday, I believe it was our 43rd anniversary in ministry, 43 years since we entered ministry. Thank God for that. But in each one of the churches that have pastored over the last 43 years, there are ladies who have dearly desired to know what it was like, or what it is like, to carry a child in their womb, and to give birth and to a precious child, and to care for and love that child, and have not, they maybe haven't gotten that opportunity. They haven't had that opportunity. And for you, Mother's Day brings pain, maybe brings disappointment. And just speaking to Teresa before the service this morning, she said for 9 years they prayed. They prayed for a child. And it was on Mother's Day, 27 years ago, that 3 ladies at the church gathered around her and prayed for her that they would have a child. That was on Mother's Day. In July, they found out that they were pregnant. And here she is. And so, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. But there are individuals who have not had that opportunity. And can I just say that my observation in many of these cases, God has brought children and young people into these ladies' lives, and they have cared for and mentored and mothered without a biological bond, but with a heart bond. They have mothered with a heart bond these individuals. And can I just say this? You too are moms. You too are moms of a very special kind. And that, and so I just want to encourage you this morning. I'm going to ask our worship team to come. And I'm going to ask all of our moms to come this morning, if you would. I want to have all of our moms right across the front here. We want to just bless you this morning, moms, and want to encourage you. And Pete's in the back, he's not a mom. Somebody was questioning on that side there. So yeah. Moms, come on up. Moms, grandmas, great-grandmas, come on up.